Okay, here we go. Okay, I started.
I'll remind you next time.
All right, so let me just review this for you. So basically, the larynx is not a
Hmm.
pitch changer. It goes up. When it raises up, it makes your voice thinner or more trebly. When it goes down, it gets bassier. Okay, it's the timbre
Hmm.
of your voice. It
Hmm.
doesn't change the pitch. However, if it goes up and you try to go higher, because your vocal cords literally have to, your whole system opens up and stretches to pull those vocal cords. When you crank it up in here, it compromises that ability and it'll make you start to strain because you're also closing the airway too. So
Hmm.
keeping this in check by using your jaw and the back of your tongue and holding it there is very important. That's why dropping our jaw when we talk and
Hmm.
not having tension in the back of our tongue allows this to float right in the middle where it's supposed to be,
Hmm.
because we want to have a voice that vibrates and resonates through our whole body. When this goes up, we get heady. When it goes down, we get really bassy and everything drops too low. Okay. This is
Okay.
really low. This is no head at all. And I'm talking low
So
because
we always talks with our jaw dropped.
we always talk with your jaw
Okay.
open. You know, this is neutral right here. When you walk down the street,
Okay.
you don't walk down the street
Hmm.
like this. All right. When you're standing, your
Uh-huh.
jaw just
Uh-huh.
hangs. It's neutral. That's where you start to speak. Some sounds that we make, we have to close our jaw to make, like the letter S. It's not even using our vocal cords. It's a hissing sound. Should.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Okay.
H, held, right? We don't even use our vocal cords for certain sounds.
Hmm.
We have to form our mouth a certain way. So there's certain times we have to, when we say the word this, we have to put our teeth, we have to pinch our tongue with our teeth,
Hmm.
right? So there's certain
Hmm.
consonants that we use. Vowels are all open, and it's an efficient tongue that we're going to go over in a second. But when we do this and we go a yo, we raise the pitch as we drop the larynx. It teaches our brain we can go higher in pitch and drop the larynx at the same time. It's a good little thing that
Hmm.
most people don't
Hmm.
realize.
Hmm.
And Roger always talks about when your voice gets strained, you want to drop your larynx and talk down here to loosen things
Hmm.
up. It's not good
Hmm.
to talk really loud when your larynx is down because your vocal cords are not really well supported
Hmm.
in a way, and you can
Okay.
really damage them. So when you speak really loud, you want to be in head voice. This can be in the middle.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hey! That can go as loud as it can. It's not going to hurt your vocal cords. But if I go low
Hmm.
and I start going, hey,
Hey. Hmm.
it's, it, it,
Hey.
it shocks them too much. So what I'm trying to say is when you drop this down to soothe your vocal cords, when they're strained or they're hurting
Hmm.
and you want to get more blood
Hmm.
flow, stay in
Hmm.
the lower range, stay in the chest voice range. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right. So now we're on to the tongue. Now, I sent you this document, correct? You have that?
I
Okay.
have it. Hmm.
Okay. So the tongue is for articulation, um, and it's interdependent. The front of the tongue and the back of the tongue do not need each other, but yet they do sometimes. It just depends on what you're doing. So
Hmm.
say the letter E for me.
E.
Okay.
E.
Everyone in every culture throughout the world, it's the
E.
universal vowel. Everyone has it, and they all do this. E. They produce it on
E.
the sides of they put their tongue flat and they produce it on the sides of their, right between the
E.
teeth and the hard
E.
palate. E, right? That is a very inefficient
Hmm.
and a wrong way to do it. So cheese no longer is accessible, okay? Because that's not the way you say the letter E. E is said like this. E, E,
E.
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 The back of the tongue
E.
arches up, okay? Arches up, and it's done right on the hard palate in the back of right between the hard palate,
Okay.
mm,
Hmm.
almost to the top to the back. E, E, and that's where you pronounce the E.
E, E, E,
E.
E,
Front of the tongue's down.
E,
E.
E,
That's it. E.
E,
E.
E, mm-hmm.
And
E,
so
E,
this is the vowels now.
E,
These are the 5 major vowels. There's 16 in the English language, but these are the 5 major ones. A, E, I, O, U. Now watch my jaw. Watch my jaw. Tell me if it moves. A, E, I, O,
A,
U.
E, U,
A, E,
A,
A, E, I, O, U.
A, E, I, O, O, U.
Ooh, yeah,
A, E, I, O, U.
right. We want to keep our jaw down, not even moving. And the corners, our mouth has to move for different things. A, E, I, O, U.
A, E, I, O, U.
Good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Keep the
Okay.
jaw.
So,
A, E, I, O, U. A,
so what we want, what we're going to do is we're going to do the front of the tongue. Okay. What's the front of the tongue do? Okay. The front of the tongue. E-ah, e-ah. And you'll feel the tongue go,
E,
e-ah. It's the midsection
E,
between the front and the back, but it's e-ah,
Ya,
e.
E, Ya,
Don't drop your jaw.
E,
E-ah,
Ya, E, Ya,
e-ah. Keep your jaw open.
E,
E-ah.
Ya,
No, you're dropping your jaw. Keep it open. E.
E, Ya,
Just move your tongue.
E,
E.
Ya,
E.
E,
E.
Ya,
E.
E, Ya,
Hold your jaw. Don't let it move. E.
E, Ya,
There you go. Okay.
E, Ya,
E. 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 E.
E, Ya, E, Ya, E,
There you
Ya,
go. Okay.
E, Ya.
Now this is the back of the tongue, moving the whole tongue, but it's the back of the tongue moving. So you're saying TH and SH. This should. Okay. Now we're going to do an NG, which is the back of the tongue. Like hung and sung.
Um, um,
Ung. Good.
um.
Okay. Now we're going to make a gargle sound and release. This is the front and the back of the tongue. The front of the tongue literally pushes the back of the tongue back. And then when you do a hiss, the back of the tongue pushes the front of the tongue forward. It's like this. You're pushing back. And then you're going.
Uh, Ga, ga,
Like you're gargling like Listerine.
ga.
Okay? Now that's not I'm just showing you how the tongue moves.
Ga.
Okay? So if you can't do it, don't beat yourself up. Usually you don't walk around going it's not a problem if we can't do it. Okay. Okay, now what I want you to do is I kind of want you to feel right here. Just lightly feel, okay? And I want you to say ah, and then I want you to
Ah,
start to tighten the back of your tongue. Okay? Like this. I'm going to demonstrate. Ah, and you'll hear the sound change just by a slight change in the back of your tongue. Go ahead.
ah,
Yeah.
like you
Almost
can.
choked. Oh,
Ah,
it's just this slight, right? So when
ah.
you're not paying attention to the back of your tongue, you can completely change the sound of your voice. So keeping that in a neutral, at ease position is extremely important. So
Ah,
just that
ah,
little bit of tension in the back of the
ah.
changes your complete voice, right? You're even choking yourself. You're going way over the top.
uh,
Oh,
uh, uh, uh,
see?
uh,
So you got to be careful with the back of the tongue. That's the tongue
mm,
clench.
mhm,
And then you can combine them all. You can go ya, 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 ung.
mm,
And when you hold the NG, this is what I wanted to show you. When you hold the NG, you can move the front of your tongue all over the place. You don't need it.
oh, oh,
See? So the
yeah,
back and the front of the tongue don't need each other
mhm,
sometimes, and sometimes they do.
yeah,
Okay, so that's the tongue. The tongue helps you articulate. That's what it's used for. But
mm,
it can entangle your system to have good sound. It can
mm,
it can pull up your larynx. It can
mhm,
cause tension where it doesn't belong. That's why in the back of the tongue we got to be very careful
mhm,
with tension. Okay?
mhm,
The last one is a soft palate,
mhm,
and that is the little flap. There's a flap back there that goes up and seals off the nose or seals off the mouth when it hits the back of the tongue. Okay?
mhm,
Now, with
mhm,
your mouth open, I want you to breathe in and out your nose without letting any air come into your mouth, like this.
mm, oh, oh,
So breathe in and out your nose, nothing out your mouth. Now breathe in and out your mouth, nothing out your nose. Can you do that okay? No problem. All right. Now, in through your nose, out through your mouth like you're blowing out candles. Right. So that's that flap going down for the
mhm,
intake and then
mhm,
when you're blowing out
mhm,
candles. Because if you don't drop it and you try to blow out candles, you'll
mhm,
do that. Okay.
okay, mhm,
So what we're going to do now is kind of a little strange, and you're going to feel the soft palate and the back of the tongue touch each other. We're going to start with an NG, and we're going to slowly turn it
mhm,
into an ah, very, very slowly, so you can actually feel the soft palate peel off the back of the tongue and drop like this. You'll feel that. And it's very strange when you first feel
mhm,
it because we're
mhm,
really slow. So it's like this. Ung, and you can feel it come together and come apart. It's kind of weird, but go ahead.
I'm
Feel
not
that?
doing it.
Yeah, it's weird. You feel that? That's a soft palate. So you can move that. And when you move it, it determines, if you drop it down, you get, a nasally voice. If you put it up too high, you get the blocked nasal, right? So moving that soft palate makes a difference in how you sound. Okay? All right. Now we're going to do nasal sounds. We're going to do M, which is with the lips, sealed. M, M,
M
N,
N
ung.
um
So the first one is in your entire mouth cavity
M
and your nose.
M
N is half your
N
mouth cavity and your nose, and NG is just your
N
nose. So those are the
mm,
nasal sounds. M,
mhm,
N, ung.
N
Mm, mm, mm.
M M N
Good. Now, and which we want to do when you practice these things, M, jaw down. M, I don't need my jaw.
M
M, N,
M
ung. My
N
jaw doesn't need to move.
mhm,
We have so much inefficiency because we're doing this all the time with our mouth. Your mouth does not
okay.
need to move that much. If you keep your corners in and your jaw down, your tongue does most of the work and your lips do most of the work. And it's very efficient that way, and you can talk more precisely and people can hear you better. Okay. So keeping the
Okay.
corners in and the jaw down and everything in a good position in a good mechanical position allows you to have more flexibility and more expression in your voice. You can go up higher and you can go lower, and with complete freedom. And that's what you want. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now we have, we're going to do the plosive buildups, which is pa, pa,
Pa, pa,
ba,
pa,
ba,
ba,
ta,
ta,
ka,
pa,
ga.
ga,
Pa, ba, ta, ka, ga. Pa, ba,
a, ba,
ta,
ta,
a,
a,
ka,
ka,
ga.
ga,
And you ga,
ga,
ga. Like
ga,
ga, ga, ga, ga, ga, ga.
ga, ga, ga,
Yeah,
ga.
right. So the plosive buildups go from pa, which is the lips, ba, which moves in a little more, ta, which uses the tongue, a, which is strictly the back of the throat. Then we have
Ah,
ka, which is even farther back, and
ah,
ga, which is glottal.
ga,
So you're actually closing your glottal off. Ga, ga,
ga,
ga.
ga,
Right?
ga. Okay.
So those are plosive buildups. That's how you stop air. You don't stop
Okay.
air by using puffs of air. You allow a steady stream of air, and sometimes you have plosive buildups, like, right? But you don't use puffs of air. So those are all the different ways. That's the mechanical breakdown of the voice. We did breathing. We did breathing, vocal cords, tongue, larynx,
Tongue.
and soft palate, right?
So, okay.
So those are the 5 things you need to understand what they do and how they affect the voice.
Okay.
But when it
Is
comes
that something that I need to practice? Okay.
I sent this to you, correct? You have a copy of this? The vocal system exercises?
The first one.
Yeah, with it has a diagram.
Is that the first one?
I'll show you a picture.
Yes.
Let me see here. Where's my screen share? I'm used to screen share. There it is. This one.
Yes.
One? Okay.
Yes, I've seen this. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's, I would review them just so you know them and break them down. And then when you do Roger Love's warm-ups, gug, 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 you can start to see how this stuff is practiced through that. It's very ingenious.
Oh.
I mean, Roger put 40 years into figuring those things out, and it is scientifically, it's all right here. So that's how you can practice that stuff in a 15-minute period. Okay? So that is the vocal breakdown. You want to work on that so technically your system's working right. Once you get that technically, then you get to the heart, then you get to the emotion, then you get to the full expression. Because if you're not feeling it, you're not going to express it. But if your mechanics are off, it'll entangle your ability to express yourself. I'm not going to make you a magnetic person by getting you technically sound. Not going to happen. What's going to happen is if I get you technically sound and then you find your center and you're not afraid to share yourself, that is where you make a difference. See, the thing is, there's the connections in your brain. There's if you took all the stars in the Milky Way, all the stars in our galaxy, and multiplied it by 10, there'd still be more options in your brain. And they're completely unique between you and every other human being on the planet. So everyone is unique. So finding that ability to share yourself and having faith that no one else is like you. When Roger talks about you're a present to the world, he's serious. And being able to find that center and how you want to offer value based on what you love in life, based on what you love, makes the difference. These mechanics help you express yourself, but they're not who you are. They're mechanics to get you there. You still have to find it here to express it. Okay? Make sense?
The expression comes from the heart.
Right. And the voice reflects that if it's mechanically working right. if I talk like this the whole time, my ability to express myself really goes down. It really, as
Mm-hmm,
excited as I want to be, this is about as good as it's going to be. But if I want to get excited, now you can hear everything because I'm dropping my jaw and I'm keeping everything in and I'm allowing my voice to, see the
mm-hmm.
big difference.
Okay.
Okay. So that is the vocal system exercises.
Mm.
Now I'm going to
So
just,
do we in our everyday conversations,
mhm.
do we should we try to practice all of these?
Well, what I do is I do two things. I always check in with my breathing, making sure my I'm dropping my diaphragm and my ribs are expanding into the room. And when I
Mm-hmm,
drop that
mm-hmm,
diaphragm, I feel like
mm-hmm,
I'm pushing down to the floor.
mm-hmm,
I'm flooring it out. I'm basing it out, and my ribs are expanding. And
mm-hmm.
then as I release my diaphragm, as I start to release my diaphragm and squeeze my ribs in and push the air out, there's a push me, pull me going on. In other words, my
Mm,
my ribs are squeezing, but my diaphragm's holding them in position. So if I need to go higher, then I'll release this a little quicker so it pushes more air out.
mm.
That's really
Okay.
technical, but that's what's going on. Your ribs are collapsing and squeezing the air out as your diaphragm relaxes because there's air pressure. You've got to push the air out. You let air in and then
Mm,
you push it out.
mm-hmm,
It's not the other way around.
mm,
You don't breathe air in and then let it out. You let air in and push it out.
mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
so being able, learning to relax your system so the air can go in, and then tighten your system so the air can go out. That
Mm-hmm,
that's the big switch that
mm,
we're not used to. Okay,
okay. Mm-hmm,
because it takes support and constant airflow to have a really really nice smooth voice.
mm,
Okay,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and then mechanically keeping that jaw down and the corners in will help suspend this,
mm-hmm,
keep this where it needs to be,
mm-hmm.
and allow your body literally to vibrate from its core. In other words, when you speak, you should feel your spine vibrate, your chest vibrate, your head, everything.
Oh, wow.
And that
Really?
center will
Mm,
change based on if I'm talking a higher pitch,
mm-hmm.
it'll vibrate up here more, but I still feel
Mm.
it down here if I'm
Oh,
resonant.
mm,
And when I'm down here, I could still feel it up in my bones up here, but it's more
mm.
centered down here.
I'm
It's right
definitely
about
not doing that.
well,
Mm-hmm.
um, let's do this a little bit. So what I want you to do is I want you to hum, HUM. So I want you to start up here. And when you feel your back vibrate and your spine vibrate right about where your heart is, that's your resonance center. Now it's not a pitch. Let me say this again. It is not a
Mm-hmm.
pitch. When you find the resonance center, you can go up and down from that. That's mechanically where you need to be, and all you're doing is stretching and putting a little more pressure to go higher and lower. That's it. So at finding that resonance center, you start up here.
Mm-hmm.
So right about there. So right there is where my resonance center is, and I want to hold that as I speak, and that allows my whole body to be a megaphone or vibration center. It's like a piano. A
Mm-hmm.
great piano, no matter what note you're playing, resonates the sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to do with your
Mm-hmm.
body. That's your original sound. You want to know what original sound is? That's what it is. So I can talk like this if I want to. It's not. It's a little bit of an accent, you say, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it's still resonant center. Okay. So it doesn't matter what I sound like. It matters that my
Mm-hmm.
body is allowing it to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start up here. Hmm. Tell me when you feel it in your back and your spine. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Okay. When you feel that,
Mm-hmm.
try to hold that feeling as you speak. Try to keep that feeling and that positioning of everything. So when you speak, it stays there in and at ease. Don't do it with tension. Do it with literally releasing all tension into that. Release yourself into that
mm,
into that zone and speak in that zone. So try it.
mm. Mm. I'm feeling it in my
Okay.
back.
All right. Now
Mm-hmm,
when you speak, when you're talking, okay,
mm-hmm,
does it
mm-hmm.
can you keep that resonant feeling as you go up and as you go down in your talk, as you use melody? Can you feel that resonance and hold that feeling like in a way that's like you're literally surrendering to it?
Well, mm. This time I'm not feeling it. Um,
So
let me do it again.
when you're speaking, when you're saying, "Hi, my name's Elizabeth, and I really love to go outside and smell the flowers and look at the birds." I mean,
Mm-hmm.
can you say something like that and keep a resonant feeling? Can you and keep where you feel your body vibrating as you speak?
That resident is it resonant resident or resident feeling?
Resonant. In other words,
Resident. Okay.
yeah, you feel your spine vibrate as you speak. You don't feel your head vibrate. You know, you feel your
Mm-hmm.
spine vibrate, and your head will
Mm-hmm.
too. But you want to center the vibration behind your heart and in your spine.
Yes. It's a little. It sounds a little abstract, but I'll try.
Okay,
Um.
well, it's not really
Mhm,
abstract. What it is this: your body is a vessel. It's mostly water, and when you
mhm,
have too much tension in it, you get heady. And this is how the whole world speaks right now, because they hold tension up in here, and it doesn't allow this part of your body to vibrate. So now you sound like everybody else. But when you allow the voice to settle and allow it to have
mm,
a space that allows
mhm,
this part of your body to vibrate too and you be part of your speaker system, okay?
mm,
When the resonance drops and you use this whole instrument rather than just your head, because I could talk low and still just be
mm,
using my head because I hold tension here. You got to release the tension. Hmm. I can feel the
mm,
vibration. I hold that feeling where the amount of tension in my body so everything vibrates when I speak. Does that make
mm.
sense?
Okay. Mm. I'm feeling a little vibration in my
Okay.
body. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm. 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 Yeah, I
Okay.
do feel it. Yes.
Okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
try to hold that when you speak. Try to use that when you speak. In other words, try to keep that sensation of your back and vibrating as you speak
Mm-hmm. Okay.
with your jaw open and your corners in. I'm throwing all these things. I'm like layering things on you. You know,
Okay.
a good breath.
I'm, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to a wonderful day, rest of my day.
There you go. How'd that feel?
Yeah.
In day, you went like day, day,
Day,
day,
day, day,
hey,
rest of my
hey.
day.
Yeah,
Day.
yeah. See, when you go day, the everything goes like it just splatters.
Ah,
See, when
okay.
you go
Rest of my
day
day. Rest my
rather
day.
than day. See, if I go
Day,
back here and I start talking
day.
like this and I start, you know, opening my mouth compared to when I keep my mouth like this, you can hear the difference with, you know, I would think you could hear the difference between this and this. This is a completely different sound than this, correct?
This. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So keeping those corners in projects your voice.
Rest of
For
my day.
projection, keep a
That's,
solid stream of air, keep the corners in and your jaw open, and
mm-hmm.
resonance center
Rest of my
vibrating.
day.
In other words, keep the relaxation or the at ease position, or
Mm-hmm.
letting go of tension to the point
Mm-hmm.
where you feel your back vibrating. And when you do
Back
that,
vibrating.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because when you have your back vibrating, that means your body is total fluidity to go emotionally where it needs to go.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm
Right?
going to try.
Okay.
Yes, I'm
Well,
going to practice
yes, you're going to practice.
that.
Practice. You're going to
I'm going to
practice.
practice. I'm
There you
going to
go.
practice.
There you
I'm
go.
going to practice.
I'm going to practice and I'm going to do a good job. And
I'm
then
going to do a
smile.
good job. I'm
And then
going to do a
smile.
good job
And you can
when I
smile with
talk.
your eyes. You don't have to smile with your mouth. I mean, you don't. And if
Going
you
to
watch
talk.
some of the great singers, watch some great singers. If they're not lip syncing, watch them sing. They don't go like this when they're singing. They,
Mm-hmm.
they're like this.
Yes,
And,
yes,
right? And they could be
yes.
singing about a very happy thing, but they're,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Okay.
I sent you another document. Can you pull that up?
Okay, let me see.
It's called Your Story.
Oops. Mhm. Please pull the wrong email. Mhm.
I can just share it with you.
Almost there. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I just want you to, I just want to make sure you got it. So this is what where it is here. Let me pull this over so I can see you. There we go. Okay, so this is called
Okay, I got it.
Your
Mhm.
Story. Okay,
Your
and
story.
so
Uh-huh.
you remember all the speeches, presentations, and talks you've heard in your lifetime. Can you remember the details of
Mm-hmm.
any of the PowerPoint presentations you've seen? Can you regurgitate all the PowerPoint presentations? Probably not. But you can remember all the stories you've heard, or a lot of them. Stories
Mm,
last
right.
forever. The more impactful,
Yes.
you can tell me stories from when you were a kid. You can tell me stories that you heard 10 years ago. You can tell me the story of a movie that made great impact on you, probably
Mm-hmm.
3, 4 years later,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Story is the vehicle for communication because it forms connections between the speaker and the audience, ignites emotional part of
Mm-hmm.
our brains. In fact, when they watch the brains when you tell a story, it's the same as taking cocaine.
Wow.
Seven,
That's
ar-
amazing.
Dr. Amen did research. 7 areas of your brain light up when you hear a story, same as cocaine. And
Wow.
I said that at YSU, and one kid goes, "Well, can we just have cocaine and not do all this work?" I said, "Funny kid, funny." Okay, and they're highly memorable. In other words, you can convey all kinds of things with story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda for an entire generation that is to come. That's Steve Jobs. He bought
Mm-hmm.
Pixar, I think, for 14 or 16 million and sold it for 6 billion. He had a 14,000% return on investment because he knew how powerful story was.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
leadership, as far as a leadership tool, I'm trying to find the evidence of this because I wanted to use it in some of my papers when I was doing my doctorate, and I couldn't find the research. But it's absolutely true. The number one quality for leadership is your ability to tell your own story. When people
Mm-hmm.
know your story, they get behind you.
Mm-hmm. The story will, when you tell the story to the people, it needs to be, the story will be somewhat um, associated with what the audience is listening to,
Well,
right?
the story, no, see, there's a big misnomer, a big untruth. Everybody thinks I have to speak for what the audience wants to hear. No, you have to speak from your heart, be transparent, be
Mm.
authentic.
So the story that you're is
Well,
really your own story.
it's you always. yes, you should always tell your own story. You can tell other people's stories, but yes, you should tell your own stories. You should tell stories about where you learn things and why you give a darn about them. The reason you care about your clients and the people you want to help is because you don't
Mhm.
want them to go through what you went through. There's something that happened in your past that has motivated you to
Mhm.
make sure other people don't suffer the way you did. And when you can tell that
Mhm.
story in a way, here's the thing. You have to say it in a way that they can understand and it's relevant to them. The story doesn't change. The story's authentic. The story comes from you.
Mhm.
How you tell it can be a little different based on your audience. How you would tell it to, a group of elementary kids compared to somebody in a nursing home would be different. You'd tell it differently, but it'd
Mhm.
be the same story. You wouldn't change the essence of the story. Does that make sense? How you
Yes,
deliver it
yes,
could
okay.
change, but what you actually tell is the same thing. So here's how you
Mhm.
explore which stories. Okay, this is a worksheet for you to do. Everyone has a story. Everyone.
Mhm.
What is the
Okay.
what is the one consistent positive impact you've had on others throughout your life that makes you most proud? And that's a question you want to ask yourself. What have you done for others that makes you most proud? What is the biggest hindrance you must fight
Mm.
against repeatedly to keep making your positive impact? What pulls you down? What's your resistance? What's the devil do to you to keep you from doing what you are meant to do? Okay? What are your five most
Mhm.
favorite movies of all time? What are your five most favorite movies of all time? And what is the common theme in all these movies? Is it overcoming a monster,
Mm.
rags to riches, the quest, the voyage and return, comedy, tragedy, or rebirth? Now start to review your story. The following story help you hone in on your personal quintessential story. I have a buddy that writes with me, and he just loves using big words. And I say, 90% of the audience doesn't even know what essential means, or can they spell it? Yeah, but it's a good word. I said, I'm sure it is. Anyway, each segment is timed out for 7 minutes. Stop writing, and this
What
is
does it mean?
what's that quintessential? Uh,
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll have to look it up, but it sounds good. It sounds really good. Quintessential probably is unique to you.
Mhm.
Quintessential.
Okay.
This is meant to be finished piece you share with others. Okay. Now this is from Bo Eason. This is his format. So if you see it again, that's where it came from. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, you have 7 minutes. List all the defining moments in your life, and then pick one. What are the defining moments in your life? What are things that happened? I literally had my friend talk on. I don't know if you were on Speakers Guild yesterday.
Yes,
I,
yes. Yeah,
yeah,
Bo
you,
Eason was mentioned. Yes.
well, yeah. One of his coaches was on there on
He,
Speakers Guild.
Jeffrey
Jeffrey,
Borman.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. Jeffrey
and that
Borman
was a brave story.
spoke of Bong Eason.
Yes, but that
Yes,
was a
absolutely. Wow,
very brave
that's
story.
amazing.
So those a defining
Hmm.
moment. That was a defining moment for him. And it took a long time for
Yes.
him to share that
Hmm.
story, but you could see the conviction. But on top of that was happy, grateful. And here's why. When you work a story out, Elizabeth, you
Hmm.
create forgiveness and settlement and restitution and resolve with your story and your life. I was mad at my grandmother for 35 years for something that happened. And when I finally, after my third visit to Bo Eason's event, told the story to myself and revealed that story and figured out what was really going on, I bawled because for 35 years I hold anger against my grandmother when it was basically a misunderstanding.
Hmm.
When I told the story from her point of view, I realized my error. Okay? Basically what happened, she
Hmm.
gave me something that was her husband who had just passed away to play with. And she said,
Hmm.
"Do you want it?" I said, "Yes."
Hmm.
She goes, "Then you can have it." So I thought she meant keep it. So I took it home. And my mother comes up to my
Hmm.
room mad. She goes, "Grandma says you stole something from her and she wants it back. We're taking it back in the morning." So
Oh.
I went and gave it to her. She slammed the door, didn't even look at me, didn't say anything. I said, I'm
Oh,
sorry. She didn't even acknowledge.
oh,
She was mad. And she went to Florida
that
that
was just,
evening, and then 2 days later she passed away from a heart attack. So I never got to have restitution. I never got
oh,
to work it out with her. So for 35 years I'm mad at her.
oh,
I was 12 years old. Like I didn't do it. I didn't
yes,
steal. And
right.
so anyway,
It wasn't intentional, but it
when I
was,
told her from
yeah,
her point of view, I realized English was her third language. That she was deeply in love with her husband, and those possessions were extremely important to her. And for her to even let me touch
yes,
them and use them was saying how much she loved me.
mm,
And when she said
yes,
you can have them, she meant you can play with them, not you can take them, because English was her third
yes,
language. And
yes. Oh, wow.
when you go back to
Mm-hmm.
Slovak, what Slovak would says, yes, you can take it. That meant you can use it. So in their language.
Okay.
So the direct
Yes,
translation was
yes.
correct, but how it's understood in Transylvania was different. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
it made me go, "Oh my gosh." So I forgave myself, forgave her, but now I can
Mm-hmm.
tell that story and it's a great learning experience. So what I'm
Yes.
telling you
Wow.
is if you pick something that you go, I can't tell other people this. I don't have resolve in this. Because Elizabeth, you never tell a story to an audience without resolve. Ever. Because you are dumping your junk on other people. You need to resolve stories before you give them to other people. Because people are loving human beings.
Mm-hmm.
They will take your luggage with them when they leave. And that's not a responsible way to speak or lead. When you lead, you show them restitution, you show them resolve, you show them forgiveness. They can use that, but they can't use your
Mm-hmm.
garbage that you can't figure out for yourself and you're dumping it on them. So that's why this is good to work by yourself or with somebody you really trust. So
Mm-hmm.
list all your
But
defining.
why only 7 minutes? That's not, I need definitely
Well, this because
more time.
if you don't, you might never get off this question the rest of your life. So for
Oh,
7 minutes, brainstorm and pick one. Just
I
brainstorm.
see.
You can
Mm-hmm.
once you pick one, you can work it through. I worked through one, and then now I have 5 or 7. Because Roger said to me, and he's right. He goes, I don't believe there's only one signature story. I believe there's several. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe Roger. He's right. So I started going back and working, and I have 5 or 6 defining moments in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have one true, this is I have a couple that are really strong for why I'm who I am and why I fight for what I fight for and why I do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 2 or 3 of them. It's not just one. So signature stories, once you need to pick one and develop one, that might not be the one you end up with using all the time. It might be one you never tell anyone. But you
Mm-hmm.
need to develop a story so you know how to do it and you have some resolve in your life where there's an unresolved story in your life where it affected you greatly. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Okay.
for 7 minutes, list all the defining moments in your life and then pick one you want to work on. Then write the story about the defining moment for 7 minutes. And if you don't get it done, you
Mm-hmm.
don't get it done. Write as quickly as you can and as much as you can. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Okay.
you write
Mm-hmm.
another 7 minutes from the other person's perspective in the story. Especially if there's a villain in the
Mm-hmm.
story,
Okay.
you tell it from their point of view. No matter how hard it is, you do
Okay.
it. You do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because people are people.
Okay.
They act a certain way. And then you tell it as an urban
Mm-hmm.
legend or a fairy tale for 7 minutes. Like like a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That makes it fun. That gives
Mm-hmm.
light to it. All right. Now you
Wow.
verbalize your story.
Uh-huh.
You get somebody or you talk in the mirror. You can do that too. Take turns telling your story for 3 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
then 2 minutes, then 1 minute, then 30 seconds, and then tell it in one sentence. The reason why you want to do that drill is because when you can tell it in one sentence, you know the essence of your story. Like my main
Mm-hmm.
story, I can tell you in one sentence is you cannot judge people by their actions. You have to look at their motives. That's
Mm-hmm.
that it's not my one true sentence, but that's really what my story is about. Okay. And it
Mm-hmm.
has to do with being bullied and abused as a child from somebody at school very severely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
And if you look at my
Mm-hmm.
story with my grandma, it's really
Yeah.
judged her by her actions, not her motives. See? And so you'll see that
Mm-hmm.
theme run through. Oh my gosh, that is a theme. So I can tell several stories around that theme. And the first time it ever happened to me might be the original story, or the signature story, but it might not be relevant for the people I'm talking to. So I want to use a story that's relevant, that's true, that expresses
Mm-hmm.
something I'm trying to get across, and then build some trust with the audience. You only trust people you know in life that are vulnerable and real. When you try to go in front of a crowd
Mm-hmm.
and try to be perfect, no one's going to trust you
Mm-hmm.
because you don't trust perfect people. If something sounds too
Mm.
good, you're like,
Right.
that sounds too good. You mean I can have a brand
Mm-hmm.
new Bentley for $1.50? Something's wrong there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Right.
Now, once you get that down in one sentence, you go back and you build the story with the key elements. This is from Kimberly Weil. Okay. This is her formula.
Mm-hmm.
You do the
Mm-hmm.
setup. Like people need to know what's going on. Is it how old are you, if that's relevant? What year is it? Is it summer?
Mm-hmm.
Is it winter? Is it indoors? Is it outdoors? How are you feeling? How are the people
Mm-hmm.
around you making you feel?
Mm-hmm.
What's the environment
Mm-hmm.
like? Whatever's important, you have to give a setup. You just can't, people start telling a story and you're like, wait, when was this? When this happened? What happened? Like if
Mm-hmm.
your brain has to have these five elements or it can't progress. It'll literally ignore the story or it will create it for itself. It'll make stuff up because it has to have these. So
Mm-hmm.
setup's important. Then the snap. What went sideways? You had this beautiful set or something that was going on, and then things went sideways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you have a struggle. The strength of the struggle is the strength of your story. If you don't tell a lot of struggle, if you don't share a lot of heartache and struggle, then no one's going to pay attention. It's a weak story. Everybody's head snaps at the accident. Everybody picks up a paper in the media because of the bad news, not the good news. And people always say, "Why aren't news media's more positive?" Well, then they wouldn't sell; they go out of business because no one would buy them.
Negative.
Yeah, we need
Mm-hmm.
to see human suffering because we need to make sure that we're not alone because we're all suffering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so struggle is the most important part of the story to have in it. And the better the struggle, the stronger the story. Like push, fighting against something. Then the shift. What happened to get rid of the struggle, to get it where you have a new resolve, a new world, a new way of doing things? Something happens. And then the success.
The shift may take a long time to change.
I'm going to give you an example in a second. And then you have success. I'm going to make up a story. Then you have the success, right? What did you learn? What did you learn
Mm-hmm.
from what you went through? So this is
Mm-hmm.
just a quick step. I
Mm-hmm.
woke up the other day and I was really hungry. I mean, crazy hungry. And I was a little sick
Mm-hmm.
too. So I thought, it'd be good to have like a banana. So I go out and there's no bananas on the counter. I think, oh, they must be in the refrigerator. So I go and I look in the refrigerator, there's no bananas in the refrigerator. I don't have any bananas in the house. I need a banana. So I turn around, I start walking, and I trip on myself and fall down and hit my nose. So now I have a bloody
Oh.
nose. I bang my knee, and I got to go get bananas. So I'm going to run to the store. I go and run out the door, and I realize I forgot my keys. So not
No.
only can I not start my car, I can't get back in the house. So
Oh.
I go around and I forgot I gave my key to my neighbor to get into my house and he didn't put it back. So my
Mhm.
secret key's not there. So I had to get a rock and I ended up busting a window and I stuck my hand and I cut my arm trying to get the lock undone. I finally get the lock undone. I go inside, I get the keys, I go out in the car, I start the car, and wouldn't you know, I back off and I miss the driveway and I give myself and I ruin my yard a little bit. I finally get out. I get to the store. No bananas in the store. I'm ready to scream. And then my phone rings and it's my mom. And she goes, "What's going on, honey? You sound upset." I told her the whole story. And she goes, "Honey, why didn't you just call me? I've got a whole bundle right here. Come over and get one." And the truth of the story is sometimes you just still need to call mom, no matter how big you think you are. So, so what I'm saying is that would be a great little one
Hmm.
to do at like a nursing home when there's a bunch of women. You could tell that story and talk about how important it is to stay in contact with the people you love and people you care about. And
Hmm.
it was a made up story for sure, but you saw how the struggle made it stronger, right?
Hmm. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
So that is
Mhm.
basically the let me stop this. That
Mhm.
is the story worksheet, so you can work through that, okay?
Okay.
You get
Okay.
you get the gist of it. That's how you find stories.
Okay. This year must be the year to write stories, to create stories, because in the summer I actually went to a workshop, a writer's workshop,
Mhm.
that teaches us to write stories.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Well,
it's
this is
women.
a very compressed. This is for 1 to 3 minute stories. Very compressed system for you,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's a good worksheet for you to go through. Makes it
Yes. Yes.
simple.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
Oh, any questions? I just wanted to leave you from this program with some solid mechanics and some storytelling skills, so
hmm
you can go on, because I really
hmm
felt bad talking to you. I didn't feel you got what you needed out of the program. So I'm hoping that because this is a freebie. We're not.
Oh, great. Yes,
This
thank
is,
you.
this is just an extra for you, and I wanted to make sure that I recorded it, so I'll send it to Amy Jo, and she'll send it to you. So
Okay. So now the stories practice, are we going to use what I come up with, and if we're to work together?
well, yeah, if you would like to, you have to talk to Amy Jo about that. But I think that honestly, I, you know, I don't. If you want to, that's great. I think that
Mhm.
you can come up with stories and start to try them with people and see what happens.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I would.
Hmm.
That's what I would do.
Okay.
But
Great.
you know,
Yes,
I mean, or you can go to one of Bo Easton's events.
I
'Cause
see.
he's got one in November in San Diego.